What young women see in older men, but no one talks about it. Ever wonder why some younger women are drawn to older men? And it's not about money. You've heard the whispers. She's after his wallet. Or it's just a midlife crisis. But look closer. Notice how she leans in, not to his car, not to his status, but to the calm way he carries himself, the quiet certainty in his voice. This isn't about defending age gap relationships. It's about revealing what most people never see, because maybe it's not his age she's drawn to, it's his presence. And in the next few minutes, you'll discover why the man you've become, experienced, grounded, unapologetically real, might be exactly what she's looking for. Stick around, because this won't just shift how you see attraction, it might change how you see yourself. Let's cut through the noise and outdated assumptions. This isn't about younger versus older. It's about certainty versus confusion, intention versus impulse. Today's women aren't looking for flash. They're looking for depth. In a world full of boys who ghost and guess, a grown man who shows up is magnetic. So let's unpack what really makes that kind of man irresistible, and how, without changing a thing, you might already be him. There's something about a man who doesn't flinch when the room goes quiet. He doesn't rush to fill the silence. He doesn't overtalk, overshare, or overcompensate. He just is. And that energy, grounded, steady, undeniable, draws people in, especially her. Younger women don't crave chaos. They crave calm, not the kind that's passive, but the kind that makes them feel safe just by standing next to it. That's what older men bring. Because confidence like that, it's not performative. It's not about being the alpha in the room. It's not about flexing wealth or name-dropping achievements. It's about a quiet inner knowing. I've lived through enough to stop chasing approval, and women feel it immediately. It's the way you pause before you speak, the way you hold eye contact, not to intimidate but to connect, the way you listen without interrupting and speak without apology. No show, just substance. I worked with a man named Mark, 54, recently divorced, unsure if he still had it. On our first call, he kept joking about his hairline and his dad bod, but when he spoke about raising his daughters, about walking through grief and showing up anyway, there was a weight to his voice that made people stop scrolling. And listen, that's confidence, not built in gyms but earned in life. And women like Lisa, 42, smart, successful, tired of surface-level charm. She said it best. When he walked in, I didn't notice his shoes or his watch. I noticed how I felt safer, just sitting across from him. So if you've ever worried that you're not flashy enough, not charming, enough, not young enough, pause. Because what she's really looking for is a man who makes her feel steady in a world that constantly spins. And that, my friend, is a power no 20-something can fake. Younger men often mean well, but let's be honest, they're still figuring things out. One minute they're charming, the next they've disappeared. They overreact, shut down, or joke their way around real feelings. It's not malice, it's immaturity. And after a few rounds of guessing games and ghosted texts, most women are exhausted. What they want, what they need, is emotional consistency. And that's where older men stand out. Because by now you've been through storms, you've sat in silence with grief, wrestled through failure, learned when to speak and when to simply be there. You don't panic when she's upset. You don't take everything personally. You hold the space. That's emotional maturity. It's not about knowing all the right answers. It's about being safe enough that she can bring you the hard questions. I remember a coaching client, Ellis, 58. He told me, when I was younger, I used to fix everything. Now I just sit beside her, hold her hand and ask, what do you need right now? That shift changed everything in his dating life. Because here's the truth. A woman's heart doesn't open to the loudest man in the room. It opens to the one who knows how to hold space for her emotions without flinching. And emotional maturity isn't just sexy, it's healing. So no, you don't have to be the funniest guy at the table or the smoothest talker. You just have to show her that. With you, she's safe to feel, and once she feels safe, that's when she stays. Here's what no one tells you. Unpredictability might spark attraction, but consistency is what makes it last. Younger women aren't looking for fireworks that fizzle out. They're looking for a man whose words and actions match, who doesn't say, "I'll call you," then disappear for days, who doesn't pull her close one moment, then push her away the next. That emotional roller coaster, it gets old real fast, and this is where older men quietly rise above the noise. By this point in life, you've learned that commitment isn't a cage, it's a choice. And if you're still dating, it's not because you have to, it's because you want to. That difference shows. You don't rush into declarations, you don't make grand gestures you can't sustain. You simply show up, again and again, steady, reliable, present. That kind of consistency is rare. And for a woman who's tired of guessing where she stands, it's everything. I once worked with a client named Ben, 61. He met a woman 20 years younger who'd only ever dated men her age. "What's different about you?" she asked him one night. His answer, "I don't confuse attention with devotion." That stayed with her, because attention is easy, devotion takes depth. So if you're worried you're too stable, don't be. Your steadiness is what makes you unforgettable in a world full of half-hearted attempts. You don't need to rush. You just need to mean what you say and keep saying it with your actions. Because for the right woman, predictable isn't dull. It's the kind of peace she's been craving all along. Let's get one thing straight. Attraction is never just about looks. Not for long anyway. Because no matter how sharp your jawline or toned your arms, the high fades. What doesn't fade is how you make her feel. And older men, you've learned how to create connection that goes far beyond the physical. You understand that intimacy starts long before the bedroom. It begins with presence, with the way you listen when she speaks, the way you remember how she takes her coffee, the way you look her in the eyes, not scanning, not judging, just seeing her. That's what gets under her skin. Younger men often rush. They treat attraction like a race to the finish. But you know that every pause, every brush of the hand, every unspoken moment matters. Because for you, it's not about taking, it's about sharing. I remember a woman telling me once, "He didn't touch me right away. He looked at me like I mattered first." That's when I knew. Older men slow things down, not to stall, but to savor. And that makes a woman feel something she rarely gets, valued beyond her body. This kind of intimacy isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself, but it lingers. It stays with her after she walks away. It makes her want to come back, not just for the way you made her feel on the outside, but for the way you made her feel on the inside. That's not just attraction. That's imprint. There's a certain kind of confidence that doesn't come from charm or cleverness. It comes from living, failing, growing, learning. And that's something younger men simply haven't had enough time to earn. When a younger woman is drawn to an older man, it's not because he knows everything. It's because he's walked through something. His words carry weight. His perspective carries depth. And being around him doesn't just feel exciting, it feels expansive. Because the truth is, she doesn't just want someone to flirt with, she wants someone to grow with. Older men offer more than romance. They offer wisdom. And it's not preachy or controlling, it's grounded. When you speak, you don't lecture. You guide, you share stories, not instructions. You listen more than you correct. That's leadership, and women feel it, not as dominance but as direction. A man who knows who he is can help a woman stretch into who she's becoming. I worked with a man named Thomas, 62. He once told me, "When I was younger, I tried to impress. Now I try to inspire." And you know what? It worked. Not because he was flashy, but because he was solid, thoughtful, wise. You don't need to lead loudly. You just need to lead gently. Because for a younger woman who's still navigating her life, being with someone who brings calm, clarity, and perspective isn't just attractive, it's life-changing. So here's the truth. Younger women aren't chasing an age. They're drawn to something age creates. They're drawn to the man who's no longer trying to prove himself, because he's already done the work. The man who's faced loss, rebuilt, and still shows up with intention. The one who doesn't chase attention, but commands presence with quiet certainty. That's you, not because of your birthday, but because of your becoming. So stop asking, why would she choose me? And start asking, why wouldn't she? You bring the kind of confidence, clarity, and emotional depth this world doesn't teach. It forges, and that's what makes you rare. That's what makes you unforgettable. If this message spoke to something real inside you, leave a comment. I'd love to hear what resonated most. And if you've ever felt underestimated in love because of your age, I hope this helped you see things differently. Subscribe for more insight on relationships, self-worth, and the kind of love that gets better with time, because the next chapter, it's yours to write.